Hello VuLoians, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the returning subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support, and to the new VuLoians, thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe down below, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for more VuLoian greatness. I'd like to give a special and random shout out to one of my commenting subscribers, Rocka Morris. Girl, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for engaging in the comment section of my previous video. If you'd like to engage, do feel free to leave a comment down below and share the VuLo gospel. So today I basically recreated this look, which is the look that I had worn a couple of weeks ago to the Miss SA beauty pageant, actually last week. Yeah, so without any further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, ladies and gents, so the first thing that you want to do is apply a primer that is suitable for your skin type. I use the Estee Lauder Mattifier Shine Control Perfecting Primer and Finisher, which is perfect if you are prone to oily skin. I've also got some acne scarring from back when I was really prone to acne, but it is what it is. For my brows, I use the Huda Beauty Brow Pomade in the shade Black. I purchased mine at Chinatown in Milnerton, which is very budget friendly for students. However, you can also purchase it online. So you'll want to start off with a spoolie to shape your brow into the shape that you'd like to achieve. And then you can go in with your brown pomade. I generally use upward strokes in order to achieve a more natural looking brow. And I just fill in where I feel my brow needs to be fuller. You can then go in with your spoolie again to sort of shade in the brow pomade so that it looks more like natural. And then once you're done with that, you can go ahead and use a flat angled brush as well as your concealer. I use LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. And with these two, you can basically tidy up your brows. So that means that wherever the brow pomade went outside of the lines of your brows, you basically just shape your brow and tidy it up. So you might sometimes find that you need to blend in the concealer a bit more so that you avoid your brow looking as though it's highlighted. For that, I use a flat brush. Now I prefer a straight brow, and sometimes because my brows tend to be bushy and wavy, I sometimes get a wavy brow. So sometimes I'll go in with a tweezer to just pluck a few brows to make my brow look the way I want it to look. And then you basically just do the same to your other brow. Next up, I went in with my Revolution Flawless palette. Before you go in with your eyeshadow, you want to first prime your eyelids. How you do that is you go in with the same concealer and you just dabble a bit onto your eyelids and then you blend it in. Applying eyeshadow onto primed eyelids basically makes your eyeshadow pop a bit more, and it also helps it last longer. It avoids creasing and just cracking, and it helps your eyeshadow last longer. So first up, I went in with the shade number 9, which is almost there. This is the lightest shade that I was using to build up to my smoky eye, and it's quite important that you start off with the lighter shades, because if it happens that you start off with the darker shades and you put on too much, you would basically need to remove it in order to fix the problem. However, if you put too much of the lighter shade, you can just go over it with a darker shade. So you blend, blend, and blend. Next up, I used the shade number 17, which is Smudge, and you basically just blend that in with your lighter shade. Lastly, you go in with your darker shade, which is shade number 25, Pure Chocolate. And you basically also just blend that in. You'll see me either blowing or tapping the brush after applying the powder. That is basically just to make sure that it's not too concentrated and so that it doesn't ruin the blending that I've already done with the previous colors. Next up, you're going to use a flat brush as well as a fluffy angled brush. So this is basically to cut your crease. How you cut your crease is you make use of your concealer and the flat brush. So you apply a bit of concealer onto your eye and then you look directly up. This helps you establish where to cut your crease. Once you've established where to cut your crease, you go in with your flat brush and you apply the concealer where you will be applying the highlighting eyeshadow, or in this case, using the fluffy angled brush, I then went in with my glitter palette, which is the Glamier palette, which I also got from Chinatown. I'll be using the Bianco shade as well as the Oak shade, the Bianco shade being the lighter shade. And once again, going in with the lighter shade first, you basically just pack it on. So we're highlighting at this point and we're cutting a crease. So you don't need to dust off any of the makeup. You just pack it on. I then went in with the darker shade, Oak, and basically just blended that in with the Bianco shade to achieve a sort of glittery brown. I then went back to my Revolution Flawless palette for the shade number 29, Burgundy Nights. This shade I used to sort of blend the smoky with the glitter, and it sort of helps you establish a vibe that shows the smoky blending all the way into the glitter and vice versa. And it also helps establish some color. And then using your flat brush and your concealer, you basically do the exact same on the other eye. That is, you apply a bit of concealer onto your eye, look directly up to establish where to cut your crease. And once you've established where to cut your crease, you go in with your flat brush and you shape accordingly. Your eyelids, just like your eyebrows, are sisters. They are not twins. So if you cannot get the exact same shape, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. You can simply fix that when you're shading in. And then I just decided to, moisturize my lips. I went in once again with the shade Bianco on the other eyelid. Pack that in right there before you start blending it with the Oak shade. And then once again, I went back to my Revolution Flawless palette for shade number 29, Burgundy Nights, to get the same blend that I got on the other eye.
That's good.
Now, this is a smoky look, so you can use a little bit of black to sort of obtain that smoky effect. Just make sure that you blend, darling, blend. Next up, I applied some foundation. So I used the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup in the shade Amber Honey. To obtain a matte effect, I apply it using a brush, a flat brush first of all, and then I go in with my beauty blender. I tend to pour a bit of the foundation onto my wrist to minimize wastage, and then I go from there. If I need more, then I pour some more, and I'm able to easily put it back in the bottle if need be. Next up, we highlight the features of our face that we want to bring forward. So I generally highlight under my eyelids, I highlight my forehead, the bridge of my nose, that is my T-zone, my chin, and my cupid's bone. And then you blend using a brush. I prefer to start with a brush and then go in with my beauty blender. But you blend, darling, till your arms fall off. You blend, you blend, you blend. So you highlight with your lighter concealer and then you contour with your darker concealer. So to contour, I use the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Mahogany, and I contour my cheekbones, I contour my nose, not to make it appear slimmer, but to emphasize the shape of my nose. And then I also contour my forehead. And you blend with a brush and your beauty blender. You blend. So next up, I applied some eyeshadow to my lower lash lid. So you can either use eyeliner or eyeshadow. In this case, I use the shade 29 Burgundy Nights. And that is one of the shades that I happen to use on my eyelids as well. So I use a small flat brush to achieve this look. And then on my tear duct, I highlighted using my highlighter. You can also use a bright colored eyeshadow for this. So I use my highlighter, which is the Revolution Makeup Strobe Highlighter. Now I used two mascaras, one thick, one not so thick. That being the Yardley London Multi-Effect Mascara as well as the Rimmel London Super Volume and Curl Mascara. On my lower lash line, I use the Yardley London Multi-Effect Mascara. On my upper lash line, I use the Rimmel London Super Volume Curl Mascara, which is not so thick. The lashes that I'm absolutely in love with at the moment are the Kiss lashes, the Blowout Lash in the variant Pixie. You can get these from any Clicks outlet. They've got multiple variants that you can choose from. I really love the volume that these give me and how easy they are to apply, and the fact that the glue dries clear. Next up, we applied the highlighter, which is basically the last step next to the setting spray. With the large fan brush, I use to apply the highlighter to my cheekbones and my upper cheekbones, and then with the small fan brush, I use it to apply a highlighter onto my nose, the bridge of my nose, my T-zone, my forehead, my cupid's bone, as well as my brow bone. Now in terms of lipstick, I decided to use two shades. The darker shade, I am not sure about its credentials. I know that I jacked it from my sister's collection. And then the lighter shade was Superb Wine from Avon. Last but definitely not least, ladies and gents, you apply your fixing spray or your setting spray. That is the Revolution Makeup Sport Fix Extra Hold Makeup Fixing Spray.